in our modern age, the tendency is to go down the psychological approach and certainly evolutionary biology and why we want to spread our seed. And here's the explanation on a mechanical level and a biological level and an animalistic level. And then this is psychology. So that's the scientific approach, which is basic human needs, and that's, reproduce and keep evolution going. And then there's the psychological approach, is like, why are we attracted to something? Why do we have certain fetishes? Why do we get our heart broken? Why do we repeat the patterns in relationships we always do? And there's a ton of books and works on that. And then the philosophical side of things, maybe you said, like you said, this Alan Botton is in these books, he approaches that. We're only that. I've never talked about biology or urges or needs, or really, we've talked about it, but not on that level. We want to know why, as opposed to the how or the what. So us is like, what is the peak experience that we can, the maximum extraction we can get from the experience in our relationships and elevate ourselves in our spirit and others. So it's very much a approach.
That's a question that you're asking.
Well, the thing is, Jordan, like with philosophy is thought experiments, just simplified. It's like psychology is trying to describe the psychology behind things, and mechanics or the science is trying to describe the mechanics of things, the biology of things. And we're trying to have the question of thought, like Ars Amorata, all thought experiments. There's no answers in it. It's just thought experiments. What about this? And maybe that. And I never thought about this before, but could be this. That's what it feels like to me.
Right. So this is interesting because you're separating now philosophy. I think what we've had over recent years, at least the people that I've read, are multidisciplinary thinkers, or thinkers that are actually quite fused with their own personal experience and then might add different questions from perspectives. Now, if you cleanse this out and go pure philosophy, which it sounds like you're trying to do here, if you go pure philosophy and you'll look at the intimate relationship, what are some of the questions and tools and approaches that you're left with? And I think you just named one question, but that's where I wanted to head. Like, what are your tools, and how does a person, a listener, start to tackle intimate relationships philosophically? And what thought experiments do we have?
Yeah, and how is it practical? Like, how does it help me? I mean, like,
let's come to this later, right? But
okay.
Just
so
pure
I
philosophy.
think the pure philosophy of it is to consider, well, to go back to the essence of you and the fundamental questions of why are you here? And maybe there is no answer to that. Maybe you're just here by a biological accident. But at least you're considering it. At least you're pondering it, because then you can go to the larger questions of life. It's like, now that I am here, it's evident that I'm here. How can I maximize this spell that I have from cradle to grave? How can I really derive out of it maximal, for lack of a better word, good for myself and for others? How can I and why is that important? Why is it important to have a life well lived, as opposed to a scrabbling, hard existence where there's no meaning and no sense of abundance or satisfaction or accomplishment? What's the difference? Who's to say one life is better than the other? So these questions. So for instance, a young man, I would completely urge him to look at his life in a philosophical sense, and look at it as a narrative and a journey and a myth that he's creating page to page. He's writing his story, and you want to look back on that story and turn the pages and look at what where you've been. And you don't get that if you're driving the tow truck and watching TV at night, watching the bad news at night. You don't get that. You just have another day that goes by. So um, I just have the sense that a young man, my goodness, like a 20-year-old man that's just fresh and just trying to figure out life and has no clue and is nervous and stuff like that. Man, if you could just if tap into the philosophy of the life you've been given, the philosophical approach to your years coming up, and the contemplative approach, contemplation, to consider. If you just could tap into that, what a glorious path you would have, no matter the bad stuff that come your way, because bad stuff is going to come your way. You know, it's the way it is. It's not a hunky dory Pangloss from Voltaire's Candide, where it's the best of all possible worlds. It's, no matter what happens, it's there's a reflection in it. So, but what a way to put forward, rather than the economics of life and how to make money and how to get security and how to do this kind of stuff. Those things, accept that they will come if you head toward a philosophical approach to life and put that forefront, that idea. And what it means, I don't know, but just to have a contemplative concept of your life going forward.